Theo dragged a heavy trash container down the long, dimly lit corridor of the space station. The metallic walls reflected the faint glow of emergency lights, and the hum of machinery filled the silence. Most workers avoided this area. It was the Emperor's wing, a place where few humans were allowed. Theo didn't care, he was just doing his job. Trash was trash no matter where it came from. As he rounded a corner, a strange flickering light caught his eye through a sealed doorway. The door was marked as restricted, but the lights inside pulsed softly, almost like breathing. Theo frowned. Curiosity gnawed at him. "Just a quick peek," he whispered to himself. He approached and pressed his face close to the glass panel. Inside he saw something that made him freeze. A massive dragon lay on a raised platform, scales dull and cracked, eyes half closed. It was enormous, easily filling the chamber, and yet there was a fragile weakness about it. The Dragon Emperor, legend of the galaxy, was dying. The creature's chest rose slowly with strained breaths, and faint smoke curled from its nostrils. Theo's mouth went dry. He had heard stories of the Dragon Emperor, ancient, powerful, feared by millions of species across the galaxy. But this was different. He had never expected to see the dragon like this, vulnerable and almost human in its suffering. Before he could react, the dragon moved. Its massive clawed hand reached out through the open air between him and the glass. Theo froze, unsure if it could reach him, unsure if he should run. The claw stopped just short, hovering. Then, slowly, the dragon's massive hand closed around his. The warmth of its scales shocked him. A pulse of energy, strange and powerful, ran up his arm. It wasn't painful. If anything, it was comforting, like a spark of life and wisdom flowing into him. The dragon's eyes, faintly glowing, locked onto his, and he felt a strange connection. It wasn't words, it was a feeling, a message carried through thought and instinct. "Trust. Help. Do not leave me." Theo stumbled back, still holding the dragon's claw. The dragon's strength was enormous, yet it was careful, almost gentle. It whispered in his mind, not in words but in images and emotions. Theo saw flashes of vast battlefields, alien worlds, and ancient halls filled with gold and fire. He saw enemies lurking, waiting for the Emperor to die so they could take his empire. And then, a glimpse of hope. A small human, overlooked and underestimated, carrying a chance to save everything. "Me?" Theo whispered aloud, shaking his head. The dragon's gaze didn't waver. Theo's heart pounded. He had been a janitor all his life, cleaning floors and emptying bins. He was not a soldier or a diplomat. He was nothing special. But in that moment he understood. The Emperor had chosen him. The dragon's breathing grew slower, weaker. Its eyes glimmered faintly as it tried to convey urgency. Theo felt an almost magnetic pull. He had to act. He followed the creature's gesture, stepping closer, and saw a small compartment open at the side of the platform. Inside was a glowing artifact, shaped like a crystal, pulsating softly with light. Theo knew instinctively that this was what the Emperor wanted him to take. He lifted the crystal carefully, its warmth spreading through his hands. Images flashed again, maps of distant planets, warnings of enemies, and visions of destruction if the artifact fell into the wrong hands. Theo felt a heavy weight settle on his shoulders. He was just a janitor, but now he carried the fate of the galaxy in his hands. The dragon's claw tightened briefly around his, and Theo felt a surge of courage. He didn't know how, but he understood the connection between them. He could feel the Emperor's strength, wisdom, and hope flowing into him, guiding him. He had to escape the station with the artifact before the enemies discovered it. Theo turned toward the door, dragging the massive trash container along as cover. He moved quietly, heart racing, senses alert. Every shadow seemed alive. Every creak of metal made him flinch. He glanced back at the Emperor, who now lay even weaker on the platform. Its eyes closed briefly and then reopened, glowing faintly, urging him onward. As he moved through the corridors, he encountered a few station guards. They did not recognize him as a threat. He was just a janitor. But Theo could feel the pull of the Emperor, the responsibility weighing on him. He dodged guards, ducked behind machinery, and kept the artifact hidden. The connection with the dragon guided him, helping him sense danger before it arrived. Finally he reached the shuttle bay. Theo's legs shook from exhaustion and fear. He set the crystal down carefully, checking that it still glowed softly. He looked back toward the Emperor's wing, hoping the dragon would survive, hoping it had trusted the right person. Theo climbed into the shuttle, adjusting the controls. His hands were clammy, heart pounding, but he knew what he had to do. As the shuttle lifted off, he looked down at the fading station. The Dragon Emperor's eyes, faintly glowing in his memory, stayed with him. Theo whispered to himself, I'll protect it. I won't let anything happen to you, or the galaxy. In that moment, a janitor became more than a cleaner. He became a guardian, a hero chosen by the mightiest dragon in the universe. The connection between human and dragon had been forged in an instant, but it was strong and unbreakable. Theo understood that this was only the beginning. Challenges awaited him in the galaxy, but he was no longer just an ordinary man. He carried the Emperor's trust, the power of the artifact, and a spark of courage that would grow with every danger he faced. As stars streaked past the shuttle's viewport, Theo clutched the artifact and thought of the Emperor. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing clearly: he could not fail. The galaxy, the ancient dragon, and countless lives depended on him. And for the first time, Theo felt something he had never known. He felt important. The shuttle surged forward into the darkness of space, carrying a janitor-turned-hero, a fragile but powerful alien artifact, and the hope of a dragon emperor who had chosen the most unexpected savior. Theo sat in the small shuttle, hands gripping the controls as the stars stretched endlessly outside. The artifact pulsed softly in his lap, its glow filling the cockpit with a warm light. He had escaped the Emperor's wing and the station guards, but he knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the galaxy, enemies would try to take the artifact, and he had no idea how to stop them. A sudden warmth spread through his hand, the same warmth he had felt when the Dragon Emperor grabbed him. It was not physical, it was a feeling, a presence inside his mind. Images flashed before his eyes, vast halls filled with gold and treasures, battles across alien worlds and creatures of immense power. Theo realized the dragon was communicating with him, not in words but through thought and vision. The Emperor showed him the history of its empire. It was ancient, older than most civilizations in the galaxy, and it had protected countless species and worlds. The artifact Theo held was more than a glowing crystal. It was a key, a source of knowledge and power that could prevent the galaxy from falling into chaos. Theo's eyes widened. "I'm just me," he whispered aloud. "I'm a janitor. How can I protect something like this?" The dragon's presence pulsed warmly as if reassuring him. He felt a sense of strength and clarity. It was not physical power, it was understanding, knowledge, and the courage to act when needed. Theo realized that the Emperor had chosen him because no one would suspect a human janitor. He was small, overlooked, and underestimated, a perfect guardian. Images showed the enemies who would come for the artifact: alien warlords, rogue soldiers, and cunning spies. Their ships were faster and more powerful than his shuttle. But the Emperor's visions also revealed a path through safe sectors of space, hidden routes, and strategies that could help him evade danger. Theo felt a responsibility growing inside him. He could not fail, not for himself but for the dragon and the galaxy. The shuttle jolted suddenly as a sensor beeped. Theo looked at the display and saw a small scout vessel approaching fast. His pulse quickened, but the warmth in his hand guided him. He followed instinct, steering the shuttle along the asteroid field the dragon had shown him. The enemy ship fired briefly, but Theo dodged easily, weaving through massive rocks and debris. The dragon's presence in his mind was constant now, showing him when to turn, when to slow, and when to speed up. Theo realized he was learning, not just surviving. He began to trust his instincts and the guidance of the dragon, sensing danger before the sensors could even detect it. After the scout ship disappeared behind the asteroids, Theo leaned back, breathing hard. "Okay, I can do this," he whispered. The Emperor's influence was not magic, it was wisdom, strategy, and trust. He felt the dragon's life force fading slowly, but its guidance was strong enough to lead him. As the shuttle drifted through a calm sector, the dragon revealed more of its secret. Its empire had guarded an ancient network of knowledge, maps, technologies, and histories that could unite the galaxy or destroy it if they fell into the wrong hands. The artifact was the key to accessing this network, and the enemies Theo had seen in visions would stop at nothing to control it. Theo's mind reeled. He had only taken out trash moments ago, yet now he was responsible for secrets older than any star system he had visited. He looked down at the glowing crystal, its surface pulsing gently like a heartbeat. The dragon's presence reminded him of the weight of this responsibility. "You have to understand," the Emperor's voice, softer now, almost a whisper in Theo's mind, communicated, "strength alone will not save you. You must be clever. Trust your instincts. And you must be brave even when you feel small and unimportant." Theo nodded, though he knew the dragon could not see him. He felt the first spark of determination. He was scared, yes, but he also felt purpose. The galaxy's fate rested in his hands, and for the first time he understood that he could rise to the challenge. Suddenly, another sensor beeped. This time, a larger vessel appeared on the scanner. It was sleek, black, and deadly-looking with energy weapons primed. Theo's stomach tightened. The shuttle was no match for it in a direct fight. But the dragon's guidance pulsed again. It showed him a narrow corridor between two massive asteroid belts, a path too tight for the enemy ship to follow. Theo took a deep breath and followed the directions instinctively. The shuttle shuddered as he dodged enormous rocks and veered through tight spaces. The enemy fired energy blasts, but the rocks absorbed the attacks. Theo's heart pounded, but he felt a steady calm where the dragon's guidance flowed through him. Every movement was precise, every turn calculated. Finally, the shuttle emerged safely on the other side. Theo exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. The dragon's presence softened, almost as if it were smiling in approval. Theo realized he was learning to think like the dragon, to anticipate, to plan, and to act courageously. He was no longer just a janitor. He was becoming a protector. Over the next few hours, Theo rested while the shuttle drifted through quiet space. The dragon showed him glimpses of the hidden planet where the artifact needed to go, a place shrouded in nebula clouds, protected by natural defenses and hidden from prying eyes. Theo understood that reaching it would not be easy, but the dragon's secret guidance gave him hope. As he drifted in the cockpit, holding the glowing crystal, Theo whispered softly, "I'll do it. I'll get there. I'll protect your legacy." The dragon's presence pulsed warmly in response, and for the first time, Theo felt truly connected to something greater than himself. He was a simple human, once overlooked and dismissed, yet now he carried the knowledge, responsibility, and trust of the greatest dragon emperor in the galaxy. And even though danger loomed ahead, Theo felt ready. With the dragon's secret guiding him, he would face the unknown, protect the artifact, and honor the faith placed in him. The stars outside the shuttle stretched endlessly, filled with mysteries and dangers. Theo gripped the controls, eyes set on the distant point the dragon had shown him. He was not alone. The Dragon Emperor's guidance flowed through him, teaching him strategy, courage, and wisdom. And for the first time in his life, he felt that he was capable of something extraordinary. The journey had begun. Theo, a janitor no more, was carrying the hope of a dying dragon, the fate of the galaxy, and a secret that could change everything. And he would not fail. Theo gripped the controls of the shuttle tightly as he navigated through a dense asteroid field. The glowing artifact rested safely in his lap, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Every now and then, he felt the faint warmth of the Dragon Emperor's presence guiding him, showing him which paths were safe and which were deadly. Theo had never flown through such dangerous space before, but with the dragon's guidance he felt his instincts sharpening. The shuttle shuddered as it narrowly missed a massive rock tumbling through space. Theo's heart raced. "I have to stay calm," he muttered to himself. He realized that panic would only slow him down and risk everything. The dragon's presence in his mind reminded him to focus, to think ahead, and to trust the instincts that were growing stronger every moment. 4 hours he maneuvered through the asteroid field, weaving between jagged rocks and debris from ancient battles. Occasionally, faint signals flashed on the scanner, small alien patrols moving near the edges of the field. Theo's pulse quickened, but the warmth of the dragon's guidance steadied him. He learned to anticipate their movements, slipping past unnoticed, using shadows and debris as cover. At one point, a massive energy storm erupted ahead, lightning arcs dancing across the void between rocks. Theo froze for a moment, unsure how to proceed. Then, a vision from the dragon appeared in his mind, a path between two asteroids where the energy arcs did not reach. Theo's hands moved automatically, steering the shuttle along the safe corridor. Sparks flew across the cockpit window as energy bolts cracked dangerously close, but the shuttle remained unharmed. When he finally cleared the storm, Theo exhaled deeply. His body ached and sweat clung to his brow, but he felt a new sense of confidence. He was surviving, and more than that, he was learning. The Dragon Emperor had chosen him not because he was strong, but because he could think, adapt, and act courageously when needed. The artifact pulsed brighter as they approached a quiet sector of space. Theo sensed that he was nearing one of the hidden checkpoints the dragon had shown him. These were abandoned stations, relics of a long-forgotten empire, meant to serve as safe houses for those carrying the artifact. He landed the shuttle carefully at the first station, its docking clamps locking with a metallic clang. Inside, the station was dusty and silent, but functional. Theo moved cautiously, exploring the rooms and corridors. He found storage bays filled with old supplies and a small medical pod, which he used to rest and recover. Nyx, the alien wolf companion from a previous rescue, Could have been here in another story, but for now Theo was alone with the artifact and the dragon's guidance. As he rested, the dragon showed him more visions. Glimpses of alien fleets searching for the artifact, spies on remote planets and powerful warlords who would kill to claim the Emperor's legacy. Theo shivered. He was just a human, untrained in combat or strategy, yet he realized that he had already survived impossible dangers by trusting his instincts and the dragon's guidance. Over the next few days, Theo used the station to repair the shuttle and gather resources. He explored nearby asteroids, collecting scrap and fuel, always careful to avoid patrols. Each time he prepared to leave, the dragon's presence guided him along the safest paths, teaching him how to move quietly, avoid detection and think ahead. Theo began to feel a growing connection, not just to the artifact but to the dragon's legacy. One night, while scanning the stars from the station's observation deck, Theo felt a sudden tremor through the shuttle's sensors. An unknown ship had entered the sector, moving directly toward his location. He froze, unsure of its intentions. The dragon's presence pulsed urgently in his mind, showing him the ship's probable path. Theo quickly prepared the shuttle for takeoff, using the asteroid field as cover once again. The unknown ship fired warning shots as he fled, energy bolts sparking against rocks around him. Theo ducked and twisted, the shuttle dodging with incredible precision. For the first time, he felt his instincts and the dragon's guidance working in perfect harmony. He was no longer just reacting. He was anticipating, predicting, and controlling the situation. After a tense chase, Theo managed to lose the pursuing ship in a dense nebula. The shuttle's systems hummed steadily, and the artifact glowed softly as if approving his efforts. Theo exhaled, exhausted but exhilarated. He realized that he had grown stronger, braver, and more capable than he had ever imagined. The journey into the unknown was teaching him not only survival but courage and leadership. As the shuttle drifted through quiet space, Theo reflected on how far he had come. A janitor, overlooked and underestimated, was now navigating deadly sectors of the galaxy, carrying the Dragon Emperor's legacy, and learning to trust his own instincts. The dragon's guidance had been his lifeline, but Theo knew that he was also beginning to understand the lessons on his own. The artifact pulsed again, showing him the next waypoint, a hidden planet where the Emperor's secrets were stored. Theo's stomach tightened with both fear and excitement. He knew the journey ahead would be even more dangerous, but he felt ready. The dangers he had faced, asteroid fields, energy storms, alien scouts, had taught him patience, focus, and courage. He had survived, and he had learned to act boldly when it mattered most. He adjusted the shuttle's course, heading toward the distant, mysterious planet. Stars streaked past the viewport as he pushed forward, the galaxy wide and full of unknown dangers. The artifact rested securely, glowing softly as if it were alive. Theo whispered to it, "We're going to make it. I won't fail. I promise." Through the darkness of space, the Dragon Emperor's presence remained with him, faint but steady, guiding, encouraging, and trusting Theo to carry on the legacy. Theo realized something profound. He had been chosen not because of strength or skill, but because of heart, courage, and the willingness to rise to the challenge. The journey into the unknown was not just about reaching a destination, it was about transformation. Theo was no longer just a human janitor. He was becoming a guardian, a protector, and a hero in his own right. And the galaxy, with all its mysteries, threats, and wonders, was about to test him even further. As the shuttle glided toward the hidden planet, Theo felt a sense of purpose stronger than fear. He was ready for whatever awaited him. The journey had changed him, and the lessons he had learned from the Dragon Emperor would guide him through every challenge to come. The stars stretched endlessly, and the artifact pulsed gently in his hands. Theo gripped the controls, eyes fixed on the unknown horizon. Danger, mystery, and adventure awaited, but he was no longer just a man taking out trash. He was a hero in the making, carrying the hope of a dying dragon and the fate of the galaxy into the unknown. Theo's shuttle glided silently through the edge of a glowing nebula, the artifact pulsing softly on the dashboard. Ahead, a hidden planet emerged from the colorful gas clouds, small but alive with energy. Theo felt the Dragon Emperor's presence grow stronger in his mind. The ancient creature's essence seemed to guide him closer to its final resting place, where secrets of immense power were stored. The planet's surface was rocky, dotted with strange, luminescent flora. Theo navigated carefully, scanning for hazards. The dragon had shown him visions of natural defenses, shifting terrain, magnetic storms, and sudden cliffs. He followed the guidance precisely, landing the shuttle in a small valley surrounded by jagged mountains. Dust rose in small clouds as he stepped out, the artifact secure in a protective harness. Theo looked around cautiously. The valley was silent, almost eerie, but he felt a strange warmth in the air, as if the planet itself recognized the artifact. The Dragon Emperor's presence pulsed with urgency. Theo understood the purpose now. This was a repository of knowledge and power, a place hidden from those who would misuse it. The artifact would unlock it, but only a worthy guardian could access its secrets. As he walked toward a carved stone structure at the valley's center, movement caught his eye. Alien ships, sleek and dark, descended from the skies, landing nearby. Theo's heart raced. He had been careful, but the enemies had tracked him here. He ducked behind a rock formation, the artifact glowing in his hands. The Dragon Emperor's guidance pulsed urgently in his mind. Use your wits. Strength alone will not save you. Theo realized that he would have to outsmart these enemies. He scanned the surroundings quickly, spotting natural traps and high cliffs. With careful planning, he led the alien soldiers into a narrow gorge, where they struggled to maneuver. Using rocks and debris, Theo created obstacles, slowing their advance. He darted across the valley, moving toward the stone structure. The artifact pulsed again, unlocking hidden doors and passages as Theo approached. Inside, the walls were lined with glowing symbols and holographic displays. Ancient knowledge filled the room. Maps of star systems, records of alien civilizations, and blueprints of technologies lost to time. Theo's eyes widened. He realized the importance of what he had found. This knowledge could save the galaxy or destroy it if it fell into the wrong hands. The alien soldiers were relentless, breaking through the entrance with brute force. Theo ducked behind a console, thinking fast. He remembered the dragon's guidance. Use the environment, outsmart, do not fight directly. Theo activated a series of mechanisms, triggering energy barriers and traps that slowed the invaders. The soldiers were powerful, but they were not prepared for the clever defenses of the ancient repository. Theo moved quickly through the corridors, accessing more of the secrets stored within. Holographic maps revealed hidden routes and safe worlds. Schematics showed technologies that could defend planets and fleets. He realized that the Dragon Emperor's empire had been more than power and fear, it had been protection and wisdom. The artifact was the key and he was the guardian. One alien soldier finally cornered him, blaster raised. Theo froze for a moment, then remembered the dragon's lessons: courage, cleverness, and trust in instincts. He activated a hidden platform beneath the floor, which lifted him quickly to a higher level. The soldier fired, but Theo was already moving, using the environment to his advantage. The chase continued through the vast chamber, with Theo using every trick he had learned from the dragon. He used light, shadow, and mechanical traps to evade capture. The alien soldiers began to falter, confused by the shifting paths and illusions created by the repository's systems. Theo realized that knowledge was his weapon, not brute force. Finally, he reached the central chamber. The artifact floated in a small pedestal, pulsing brightly. Theo placed it carefully, and a beam of light spread across the room. Holograms activated, showing the galaxy's history, warnings, and guidance for the future. Theo realized that he had unlocked the Dragon Emperor's legacy, not just the knowledge but the wisdom and responsibility that came with it. The alien soldiers, now trapped in an enclosed corridor, shouted in frustration. Theo felt a surge of confidence. He had faced overwhelming odds and survived, not through strength alone, but through cleverness, courage, and guidance from the dragon. He understood now why the Emperor had chosen him. As he examined the holograms, Theo felt the dragon's presence fading. The Dragon Emperor's life force had diminished, but its essence left him with strength, wisdom, and a spark of leadership. Theo touched the glowing artifact, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on him. He was no longer just a janitor, he was the guardian of knowledge, the protector of a legacy that could save the galaxy. The stars outside glimmered through the chamber's viewing panels. Theo took a deep breath, thinking of all he had learned and endured. The journey had tested him in every way, through danger, fear, and uncertainty, but it had also taught him courage, strategy, and resilience. He realized that the galaxy's future depended not on power alone, but on those willing to act wisely and bravely. Theo activated the shuttle and prepared to leave the planet. He had secured the artifact and unlocked the Dragon Emperor's knowledge. Now he would carry it to the safe worlds, sharing the wisdom and guidance necessary to unite species and prevent the rise of tyrants. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but Theo felt ready. He was no longer alone, and he was no longer just a human janitor. As the shuttle lifted off, Theo glanced back at the valley. The stone structures glowed faintly in the fading light, a testament to the Dragon Emperor's foresight. Theo whispered softly, "I won't fail. I'll protect your legacy just like you trusted me to." The journey ahead would still be difficult. Alien factions, spies, and warlords would continue to pursue him. But Theo had learned something vital. Courage, intelligence, and trust could overcome even the most powerful foes. The Dragon Emperor's legacy was safe for now, and Theo was determined to ensure it remained so. The shuttle sped through the galaxy, the stars stretching endlessly ahead. Theo felt the artifact's warmth and the echo of the Dragon Emperor's wisdom within him. He was ready to face the challenges to come, to protect the knowledge and to honor the faith placed in him. The empire of the Dragon Emperor had survived through wisdom and foresight. Now, it lived on in the heart and mind of a human who had once only taken out trash. Theo smiled, understanding the true meaning of his journey. Even the smallest, most overlooked beings could change the course of the galaxy when trusted with courage and responsibility. And as the stars glimmered around him, Theo knew that the final part of his journey awaited. The moment when he would take the lessons, the artifact, and the Dragon Emperor's legacy to shape a new future for all species. Theo's shuttle glided through the quiet stars, the artifact glowing softly on the dashboard. The Dragon Emperor's presence had faded, leaving behind a warm, guiding memory. Theo felt the weight of responsibility in his chest, but also a spark of confidence he had never known before. He was no longer just a janitor. He was the guardian of knowledge, the protector of a legacy that could unite the galaxy. The hidden planet where he had unlocked the Dragon Emperor's secrets faded behind him. Ahead lay the central worlds of the human colonies and their allied species. Theo knew that sharing the artifact's knowledge could prevent wars, stop tyrants, and bring lasting peace. But he also knew it would not be easy. Many factions would resist, some out of fear, some out of greed. He would need wisdom, courage, and careful planning. As he approached the first inhabited planet, Theo used the artifact to communicate with trusted leaders. Holographic maps displayed strategic locations, resources, and safe havens. Theo's voice was steady, even as he explained the danger of rogue warlords and alien factions. He was just a human, and yet the information he carried commanded attention. Leaders listened not because of fear, but because the Dragon Emperor's legacy spoke through him. Theo realized that his journey had changed him. He was no longer timid or overlooked. He had faced deadly enemies, navigated treacherous space, and unlocked secrets older than most civilizations. Each challenge had taught him patience, courage, and the importance of thinking ahead. He felt the Dragon Emperor's teachings in every decision he made, guiding him to act wisely. On the second day of his mission, a human fleet arrived near his position. The fleet commanders were skeptical at first, questioning how a single human janitor could carry such vital knowledge. Theo calmly explained the artifact, the hidden repositories, and the Emperor's wisdom. He demonstrated how the artifact could detect threats and locate safe worlds. Slowly, the commander's skepticism turned into trust. They began to see Theo not as a janitor but as a leader, a bridge between species and a guardian of the galaxy. Meanwhile, rogue alien factions had discovered the artifact's location and were moving quickly. Theo knew that confrontation was inevitable. He carefully positioned the human fleets, using the knowledge from the Dragon Emperor to anticipate enemy movements. He had learned to think strategically, to predict actions, and to stay calm under pressure. The artifact pulsed gently in his hands, reminding him of the responsibility and the trust placed upon him. When the enemy ships arrived, Theo directed the defenses with precision. The fleet moved in coordinated patterns, blocking attacks and protecting key planets. Theo guided the commanders to avoid traps and ambushes, using both strategy and the artifact's knowledge. The enemy, powerful and numerous, found themselves outmaneuvered. Theo realized that courage and intelligence often outweighed raw strength. After the battle, Theo visited the central command halls of the human colonies. Leaders of many species gathered to hear him speak. Theo explained the Dragon Emperor's legacy, the purpose of the artifact, and the importance of cooperation among civilizations. His words were simple, clear, and powerful. They resonated with everyone, showing that even the smallest, most overlooked individual could make a difference. The artifact continued to glow softly, unlocking more knowledge as Theo accessed it. He shared blueprints for energy shields, sustainable colonies, and communications networks that could link distant planets. Species that had once been rivals now began to see the value of working together. Theo felt a sense of pride, knowing that the Dragon Emperor's wisdom was helping to shape a new era of peace and understanding. Days turned into weeks, and Theo continued his mission. He traveled from planet to planet, sharing knowledge, training leaders, and guiding fleets. His confidence grew, and so did the trust others placed in him. He remembered the moment when the Dragon Emperor had first grabbed his hand, and he realized that the choice had not been about strength or skill, it had been about courage, heart, and the willingness to act when no one else could. On the final day of his mission, Theo returned to the hidden planet where the artifact had been stored. He placed it carefully in its pedestal, ensuring that its power would remain protected. He paused, remembering the Dragon Emperor, who had entrusted him with this great responsibility. Theo whispered, "Your legacy will live on. I won't fail. The galaxy will be safe." As the shuttle lifted off, Theo looked down at the valley, now quiet and glowing in the planet's light. The stone structures and hidden chambers stood as a reminder of wisdom, foresight, and trust. Theo smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had transformed from a janitor into a guardian, a hero, and a symbol of hope. News of Theo's deeds spread across the galaxy. Humans and allied species celebrated the unity and peace he had helped bring. Children learned stories of the janitor who had saved the galaxy, and leaders remembered that courage and intelligence could come from the most unexpected places. Theo had shown that even an ordinary human could change the course of history when trusted with responsibility and guided by wisdom. In the quiet moments, Theo often thought of the Dragon Emperor. He felt its presence in the artifact, in the knowledge, and in the lessons he had learned. The warmth and guidance that had once filled his mind were now part of him. He understood that he carried not just a powerful legacy, but also a responsibility to act with wisdom, courage, and compassion. The galaxy, once threatened by greed, war, and chaos, now had a chance for a brighter future. Theo had become a symbol of hope, showing that courage, cleverness, and trust could overcome even the greatest dangers. The Dragon Emperor's legacy lived on, not just in artifacts and knowledge, but in the heart of a human who had risen to the challenge. As Theo looked out at the stars from his shuttle, he felt a sense of peace. He knew that dangers would come again, but the lessons he had learned and the wisdom he carried would guide him and the galaxy. The future was uncertain, but Theo was ready. He was no longer just a janitor. He was a guardian, a hero, and a beacon of hope. The artifact pulsed one last time as Theo set a course for the central human colonies. The Dragon Emperor's spirit had passed on, but its legacy was secure. Theo smiled, feeling the warmth of that trust within him. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to lead. The galaxy stretched endlessly before him, filled with stars, planets, and possibilities. Theo knew that his journey was far from over, but he also knew that he could face whatever came next. He had the courage, the wisdom, and the heart of a hero. And with that, a new dawn had begun, not just for humans but for all the species of the galaxy. Theo's story would be remembered for generations, a tale of hope, trust, and courage. From a janitor taking out trash to the protector of a Dragon Emperor's legacy, he had shown that even the smallest and most overlooked individuals could change the course of history. And as the stars shone around him, Theo felt ready for whatever new adventures awaited among the endless skies.